Hey everyone, and welcome. I am so thrilled you're joining us today because we are going to unpack something truly mind-bending. In this analysis, we're deconstructing a really fascinating, highly structured argument about one of the absolute oldest questions in human history, the existence of the afterlife. We're looking specifically at a framework laid out by the renowned scholar Bediüzzaman Said Nursi. Now, what makes his approach so unique and honestly so perfect for an explainer like this is that it isn't just a loose collection of beliefs. No, it is an incredibly rigorous, tightly bound logical sequence. So get comfortable and let's explore how just one single premise can ripple outwards into a grand theory of existence.
Okay, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine a heavy, interlocked iron chain just resting on a table. If you reach out and pull the very first link towards you, well, what happens? You don't just get that one link, right? The second link follows, which yanks the third, and inevitably, the entire chain moves together. You literally cannot move the beginning without moving the whole shebang. And that is the exact thought experiment we're jumping into today. If you accept the very first link of a logical progression, aren't you kind of bound to accept the conclusions that naturally follow? So what if that very first foundational link is simply this? If there is a creator, let's see exactly where pulling that single link takes us.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the first link, the existence of a creator. This is Bediüzzaman's foundational premise, and accepting it acts as the ultimate catalyst for everything else.
So let's walk through this precise if-then logical breakdown step by step. Step 1, if an eternal creator exists. Right, we're talking about a being who is both eternal in the past and eternal in the future. Moving to step 2. His infinite kingdom requires a permanent realm. Think about this logically for a second. An eternal, infinite ruler simply cannot be entirely contained or adequately expressed, for that matter, within a temporary, decaying, finite world like ours. A permanent, everlasting sovereign literally requires a permanent, everlasting domain to fully manifest their sovereignty. Which brings us right to step 3. Therefore, the afterlife must exist. If the creator is eternal, his ultimate realm absolutely must be eternal. The completely temporary nature of our current universe practically screams for the existence of a permanent continuation. It's really just a direct, unavoidable progression of logic.
But Bediüzzaman doesn't just leave us hanging in the abstract. Let's move into section 2, flawless administration and compassion, where we take a look at the observable universe around us. Now, consider the stark contrast we've got right here. On one hand, we see magnificence, wisdom, and compassion. Think about the incredibly intricate balance we observe in the cosmos, the unbelievable care taken to provide sustenance for every single living creature. It's beautiful, right? But shift your attention to the other side. Collapse, meaninglessness, injustice. But Bediüzzaman makes a really fascinating point. If there is no afterlife, if death is just the final, absolute end of everything, then all of that preceding magnificence instantly turns into despair. Without an eternal realm to preserve this beauty, the universe's incredible wisdom ultimately just collapses into complete meaninglessness. The profound compassion we see every day, it would actually be a horrific injustice if we were only created to be entirely annihilated forever. The existence of the afterlife is, logically speaking, absolutely crucial to protect the universe's magnificence from ultimate ruin. And this brilliantly illustrates how visible, everyday realities act as huge signposts pointing towards something hidden. Just look at the countless acts of everyday goodness, the little bestowals, favors, and gifts we experience in our daily lives. Think about the boundless mercy we witness out in nature, like a mother animal fiercely protecting her young. Bediüzzaman posits that these aren't just, random happy accidents. No way. They are direct visible evidence, pointing right to the unseen. They point to a deeply compassionate creator operating behind the physical curtain of our world. But there is a catch. This evidence is only visible to what he calls unextinguished minds and living hearts. It requires us to actually pay attention, to keep our intellect and our emotional core wide awake and receptive to the profound meaning hidden inside the mundane. Which brings us to section 3, the conclusion. Because this logical chain is watertight, accepting that very first premise inevitably drags the rest of the chain with it, proving the absolute inevitability of the afterlife. So let's see how all of this builds a really powerful bridge between logical deduction and scripture. Because, this philosophical exercise doesn't just exist in a vacuum, it is deeply grounded in religious text. Take this quote from the Quran. "Put your trust in the ever-living, who never dies." This gives the whole argument a serious theological gravity, showing the ultimate divine backing for this continuous logical chain. The very foundation of the argument, the eternal, undying nature of the Creator, is explicitly confirmed right here.
And as we've just seen, once you establish that the Creator is the ever-living who never dies, well, the logical necessity of an equally enduring afterlife just falls perfectly into place. Now for our final part, Section 4, consider your place in the chain, a moment for reflection. We've covered a lot of really profound ground today, but information is only as good as the reflection it prompts, right? Let's take a breath and transition from looking at this objectively to looking at it personally. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought experiment. Think back through the progression we just walked through. At which link in this chain did you find yourself saying, yes, absolutely, I agree? And at which specific link did you feel the need to pause, to question it, to maybe think a little deeper? Was it the existence of the eternal Creator? Was it the idea that an infinite kingdom absolutely requires a permanent realm? Or was it the assertion that the compassion we see out in nature demands an afterlife to give it ultimate meaning? Wherever you paused, well, that is exactly where your own personal journey of inquiry begins. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep reflecting, and I'll see you next time.